I am letting out the most dramatic, just exhausted sigh right now.
Honestly valid. Completely valid.
Right. Because keeping up with the sheer unadulterated mess of this pop culture landscape is like an actual full-time job.
It really is. It takes a toll on the nervous system.
It totally does.
Yeah.
But welcome back, babes. This is your safe space. Put in your headphones, take a breath, because, babes, you are amazing.
You truly are, and we are so happy you are here with us in the chaos.
We really are. And honestly, bless the gods for early escapes.
Oh my gosh, yes. Bless the gods.
Seriously, the fact that we both somehow got off work early today is like the only reason my brain is currently functioning.
It was a spiritual experience leaving that building.
Right. Getting out of that fluorescent lighting before 5 o'clock. Magic. So we get home, we get our iced coffees, we sit down at the mics, and then what happens?
Well, the internet decided to take a collective nap.
Literally. The blogs took absolutely forever to post anything this morning.
I was sitting there, refreshing my phone, just analyzing the psychological warfare of being denied our morning gossip. Like, why is celebrity gossip suddenly on a delayed schedule?
I know. I was tweaking. Babes, we woke up ready to spiral, and the blogs gave us nothing.
Nothing at all. It's giving unemployment for celebrity publicists.
Yes. Seriously, clock in. Earn your money, people. We need the mess to start our day.
We do. And because there was no new mess, I made the terrible mistake of looking at my reality TV watch lists.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Do not even talk to me about the watch list.
I mean, they are becoming completely unmanageable. There are so many shows we are behind on.
My chest gets tight just thinking about it. You want to be part of the cultural conversation, but trying to catch up is just a very specific type of modern anxiety.
It is. So, since the blogs were dry for so long, let's just do our highs and lows before we get into the actual celebrity spill.
Yes, let's do it. Personal, chaotic, no work talk. You go first.
Okay, so my low of the morning is a real testament to the dangers of the digital age. I got a text from an unsaved number.
Oh, I hate that. What did it say?
It literally just said, so are we going to talk about what happened?
Oh my gosh. No.
Yes, my heart plummeted into my stomach. I spent like 20 minutes mentally reviewing the last 5 years of my life.
Just trying to figure out who you wronged.
Exactly. I was like, who was mad at me? What did I do? Turns out it was just a wrong number meant for someone named Jessica.
Wait, shut up. Seriously?
Yeah, seriously. But the adrenaline crash from that phantom guilt was so intense that I went straight into a 2-hour TikTok spiral.
2-hour spiral
Mm-hmm.
over a wrong number. What were you even watching?
People deep cleaning vintage rugs with water extraction vacuums.
Stop it.
I am dead serious. My entire morning schedule was derailed by Jessica's drama and carpet cleaning content.
I honestly love that for you. That is so real.
What was your low? Please tell me it involves stepping outside.
Oh, it was a hyper-specific grocery store trauma. I went in for like 3 items. I
Yeah.
just needed an avocado, right?
Okay, high stakes already. Exactly. I make eye contact with the very last ripe organic avocado in the bin. And this woman just materializes out of nowhere and lunges for it.
No way. Did you fight her for it?
We had this silent, deeply aggressive standoff, just glaring at each other over the avocados.
And let me guess, you folded.
Of course I folded. I hate confrontation. I let her take it. And then I went to the self-checkout, and the machine started screaming at me about an unexpected item in the bagging area.
So it was just you, no avocado, and the robot yelling at you.
Just me and my sadness, honestly.
Oh.
But speaking of things I cannot emotionally handle, I have to tell the Snark Squad what is currently happening to me.
Oh, boy.
My dental office is doing a raffle.
Okay, wholesome. We love dental hygiene. Like, what is it, an electric toothbrush? Whitening strips?
No, they are raffling off tickets for a FIFA World Cup game.
Wait. What? A World Cup game?
Yes, and they automatically entered me into the raffle just because I came in for a cleaning. I am in a state of pure panic.
Analytically speaking, the odds of you winning are low. But what if you do?
That is what I'm spiraling over. What if I actually win? I cannot emotionally handle a live sports event.
I'm trying to picture you at a massive international soccer match, and my brain is just short-circuiting.
The sensory input would destroy me.
You really would.
The crowds, the screaming, just the sheer overstimulation of thousands of people feeling intense, aggressive emotions all at the exact same time.
Plus the pressure to pretend you understand sports culture.
I don't know what an offside is. I don't know why everyone is so mad at the referee. Man, I'd show up dressed like it's a fashion event.
When we said fitness era, this is not what we meant.
We meant Pilates, not face paint and aggressive chanting.
Although, think of the branding pivot. We could try to become chaotic soccer influencers.
Oh my gosh, yes. Sports babes.
We just show up to the stadium, completely ignore the match, and strictly review the structural integrity of the stadium nachos.
And we would absolutely end up on the Jumbotron looking completely lost, while everyone around us is sobbing over a goal.
It would be incredible content. But to ground us back in reality, we need to do a beverage check.
Yes, we do. You know the saying, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I think we all know it.
And yes, babes, the lemon water is on deck.
You thought we were going to say wine, didn't you?
You totally did. But every now and then, you just have to switch it up.
Our livers deserve peace, Danielle. Wait, I mean, our livers deserve peace, host bestie.
They really do. We are hydrating. We are purifying the vessel. But let's be real. Tomorrow, when the reality shows drop, we will probably be back to the wine anyway.
Oh, absolutely. The lemon water is a temporary truce. But listen, the blogs finally woke up. The publicists finally clocked in.
Thank goodness.
So let us get into the celebrity spill. The last 24 hours have been an absolute masterclass in mayhem.
I am so ready. Where are we starting?
We are starting with Theme 1, Met Gala messiness and lawsuit leftovers. Because nothing breeds high-stakes, passive-aggressive drama quite like locking a bunch of dehydrated A-listers in a museum.
We absolutely have to start with Anne Hathaway and Blake Lively. Because my heart is fully breaking for the Princess of Genovia right now.
It is a wild situation.
So for the Snark scrod who missed it, there is a photo circulating everywhere of Anne and Blake posing together at the 2026 Met Gala. And the internet has completely lost its collective mind.
They labeled it a Mean Girls Gala moment.
Yes. The timelines are flooded with people joking that Anne Hathaway's stock is falling just by associating with Blake.
It is a fascinating psychological phenomenon.
Break it down for me because I don't get it.
We take a single static image, right? A literal millisecond of time captured under aggressive flash photography, and we project an entire cinematic narrative onto it.
Right, because of all the drama surrounding Blake lately.
Exactly. The internet has decided that celebrity alliances operate exactly like high school lunch tables. Because Blake Lively has been in the crosshairs of public opinion, anyone standing in her proximity is suddenly catching collateral damage.
But I have to push back on this because it feels so incredibly unfair to Anne. Is it really fair that Anne gets dragged just for taking a networking photo at the biggest fashion event in the world? Like, she is Anne Hathaway. She is having this beautiful career renaissance.
She is.
What is she supposed to do? See Blake coming down the carpet and just sprint in the opposite direction in a custom gown?
PR-wise, a ruthless publicist might actually advise exactly that.
Really?
I mean, yeah. But in reality, you smile, you pose, and you keep it moving. The problem is the internet does not do nuance. The algorithm demands a villain.
And right now, Blake is the villain to a lot of people. Which brings us to the underlying legal drama, right? The lawsuit leftovers.
Yes. It ends with us workplace harassment lawsuit between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
The settlement finally happened, and the outcome is completely blowing my mind.
The outcome is the ultimate anticlimax.
Literally $0.
Exactly. No money was exchanged. The defamation claims from Justin against Blake and her team, and the remaining claims from Blake against Justin's production company were all settled for $0.
I need you to explain this to me like I am 5 years old.
Okay.
Because in my mind, a lawsuit is about winning money. You sue someone for millions because you want the millions.
Right. In a normal world.
So how do you spend months paying high-powered Hollywood lawyers an exorbitant hourly rate just to walk away with a piece of paper that says 0? What is the point of that?
To understand this, we have to look at the mechanics of high-stakes Hollywood litigation. In the real world, you sue for damages. In Hollywood, you sue for headlines.
Wait, so it's just about the press?
Completely. This was never really about a financial payout. It was a war for the narrative. It is about reputation management.
That's so wild.
Think about the concept of a SLAP suit, a strategic lawsuit against public participation. Now, this wasn't technically a SLAPP suit, but it operates on a similar frequency.
Which means what, exactly?
It means using the heavy, expensive machinery of the legal system to muzzle the other side and control the public story.
So they were essentially just paying lawyers thousands of dollars an hour to write very aggressive press releases disguised as legal motions.
You nailed it. That is exactly what it is. But eventually, the billable hours stack up, millions of dollars are spent.
And they just give up.
Both PR teams look at the collateral damage. They look at the fact that dragging this through a messy public trial will only unearth more toxic details, so they decide to cut their losses. You don't settle for $0 if you think you have a slam dunk case.
You settle for $0 when you just want the bleeding to stop.
Exactly.
It is so heavy. And of course, Megyn Kelly had to jump into the chat.
Of course she did.
She went on her podcast and went absolutely scorched earth over this settlement.
Before we get into what she said, let us just lay down the impartiality rule for the Snark Squad.
Yes, please do.
We are just reporting the timeline of the dismissed claims and the countersuits here. We are impartially reporting Megyn Kelly's quotes. We are not taking any sides regarding her political stances or her personal brand.
Exactly. We are just the messy messengers. But what she said was intense. She called Blake a serial fraudster, and she claimed that Blake ruined her own reputation with these lawsuits.
Those are incredibly aggressive words for a $0 settlement.
They really are.
But Megyn Kelly is looking at the $0 settlement and reading it as a white flag. The interpretation being pushed by critics is that settling for nothing is an admission that the initial claims were a PR strategy that backfired.
Wow. It's just fascinating how the court of public opinion operates entirely independently from the actual court of law.
It really is two completely different justice systems. But listen, the Met Gala wasn't just heavy because of internal Hollywood politics.
Well, not at all. The external optics were wild this year.
Very wild.
You think of the Met Gala and you think of glamour and unattainable beauty. But there was a massive protest happening right outside.
A highly targeted protest, yes. The demonstrators were outside the museum, specifically targeting the honorary co-chairs of the gala.
Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez.
Correct. The core of the protest centered around Amazon's labor practices, specifically the long-standing allegations that Amazon warehouse workers and delivery drivers are monitored so strictly and pressed for time so aggressively that they allegedly have to urinate in plastic bottles just to meet their quotas.
Which is just awful. But this is where the timeline gets completely surreal. Because Tommy Lee decided this was his moment to shine.
The legendary drummer from Mötley Crüe.
Yes. He posts a photo on his Instagram of himself, back to the camera, standing outdoors, apparently peeing into a plastic bottle.
I saw that.
And he tags Amazon Music in the caption.
Let us examine the sheer dystopian absurdity of this moment.
Please, because my brain cannot process it.
You have Anna Wintour inside the museum, orchestrating the most exclusive high society event on the planet. You have Jeff Bezos skipping the event, but Lauren Sanchez is walking the red carpet in a plunging custom Schiaparelli dress.
And she was giving interviews about her weight loss and the tailoring of her gown.
Exactly. And simultaneously, outside the museum and on Instagram, a 1980s rock star is weaponizing his bodily functions to troll a tech billionaire over labor disputes.
It feels completely out of touch. The contrast between a custom Schiaparelli gown and a protest about warehouse conditions is glaring.
It is very let them eat cake.
It feels like we are living in the Hunger Games and the Capitol is absolutely tone deaf. But I also want to talk about Tommy Lee's approach. Like, is this effective protest, or is this just turning labor rights into content for engagement?
That is the perfect question. It is protest as content.
Right.
Tommy Lee comes from an era of rock where rebellion was loud, offensive, and anti-establishment. But executing that rebellion via an Instagram tag against a corporate tech monopoly feels like a bizarre collision of eras.
It really does. It trivializes the actual plight of the workers by turning it into a visual punchline.
It makes it about him, not the workers, which is why it's so fascinating to look at someone who actually managed to navigate that exact same red carpet without stepping on a single PR landmine.
Or feeling out of touch. Enter Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
A true masterclass in proactive public relations.
It was his first Met Gala ever, which is crazy to think about given his level of fame. He went with his wife, Lauren Haitian, and he just nailed the optics.
He really did. What did he say in the interview?
He did this interview on the carpet and said that usually red carpets carry so much pressure. You know, box office numbers, opening weekends, award season politics.
Right.
But he framed the Met Gala as having no pressure. He said there was no box office trophy, just clothes. He essentially sold the narrative that this was just a very fancy, pressure-free date night.
It is brilliant framing,
Yeah.
but I have to inject a little analytical snark here.
Go for it.
Because while he is selling this relatable, low-pressure date night narrative, we have to look at the details.
Okay, what did you see?
He wore a stunning black and white Tom Brown tailcoat and skirt, which was a great fashion risk.
He looked amazing.
He did.
Yeah.
But he also happened to be wearing a $3.3 million Jacob & Co. watch.
Wait, I'm sorry. $3.3 million.
Yes. The billionaire third, watch.
$3.3 million on his wrist for a date night.
Exactly. Let's pause and conceptualize that. You are wearing the GDP of a mid-sized corporation on your left arm. But yes, Dwayne, it is just a chill, pressure-free evening, looking at some art.
That is unhinged.
This sheer flex of acting like a $3 million timepiece is just a casual accessory for a date night is the kind of quiet luxury arrogance that I secretly respect.
Only The Rock could pull that off. It's like he has a Teflon PR shield.
He really does.
It makes you feel like he's just a relatable guy grabbing dinner with his wife, even while wearing millions of dollars in diamonds.
It is a talent.
It is. But speaking of PR shields and people desperately trying to control their public narratives, we need to transition to theme 2, royal riffs and political pop stars.
And right at the top of this segment, let us issue a massive overarching reminder to the Snark Squad.
Yes, the golden rule.
Anything and everything we discuss regarding the royal family is allegedly true. We are just reading the gossip. We are just looking at the timelines.
Because they will sue you.
Because, analytically speaking, the British royal family is incredibly litigious.
Wait, I actually want to unpack that for a second. Why do we always have to say allegedly with them more than any other celebrities? What makes them so terrifying from a legal standpoint?
It comes down to the fundamental difference between United Kingdom libel laws and United States defamation laws.
Okay, give me the law school breakdown.
In the U.S., if a public figure sues a publication for defamation, the burden of proof is on the celebrity. The celebrity has to prove that the publication knowingly lied and acted with actual malice.
Which is really hard to prove, right?
Exactly. It is very hard to prove. But in the UK, the burden of proof is reversed.
Wait, what does that mean?
If the royals sue a tabloid, the tabloid has to prove that what they printed is the absolute undeniable truth. If the tabloid can't prove it, they lose.
Oh, wow. So the publication is guilty until proven innocent.
Essentially, yes. This makes UK libel laws incredibly favorable to the plaintiff, and the firm uses that legal leverage to keep a very tight grip on their narrative, hence, allegedly.
Okay, that makes so much sense. It's a completely different legal playing field. So, allegedly, Queen Camilla and King Charles just got back from a 4-day diplomatic trip to the U.S.
Yes, they did.
And apparently, it went really, really well.
Just to lay out the facts neutrally, without taking any political stances at all. During this trip, they marked the 250th anniversary of American independence.
Right.
And they spent time with Donald and Melania Trump. The diplomatic visit was widely praised in the press. They were apparently treated like rock stars.
And the success has allegedly gone straight to Camilla's head.
Has it?
Yes. The blogs are reporting that insiders say she is walking around feeling like the cat that ate the canary.
Oh, the smugness.
So smug. She is feeling incredibly smug. And apparently, she actually went to Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, and told her that she is just as popular as Kate now.
Oh, she did not.
She allegedly did. And she told her that William and Kate need to cool their jets because Charles and Camilla have no plans to step aside anytime soon.
Analytically, we have to look at the internal currency behind palace doors.
What do you mean?
You have a monarchy, right? An institution built on centuries of duty, stoicism, and divine right. Yet, the actual day-to-day operations seem to revolve entirely around public polling numbers.
It is basically a popularity contest.
It is. The sheer level of petty it takes to return from a massive, successful international diplomatic mission, and your very first instinct is to go find your daughter-in-law to brag about your popularity.
It is staggering.
It really is. It shows that the true currency of the palace isn't diplomatic success. It's who gets the loudest cheers from the public.
But I have to ask, can anyone actually compete with Kate Middleton's PR halo?
Probably not.
Because even while Camilla is allegedly gloating about a diplomatic tour, Kate is out here doing the most relatable groundwork imaginable.
Ah, yes. The highly publicized village moment.
Exactly. So Kate was visiting the University of East London for her Foundations for Life initiative.
Okay.
And she was talking to local moms wearing this beautiful, understated gold necklace with her 3 kids' initials on it.
Very on brand.
Very on brand.
Yeah.
And she made this deeply earnest comment about how hard it is to actually find a village when you're raising kids and how much energy and effort it takes to build that support system. And the internet loved it.
It is a very sweet sentiment. And on a human level, mothers everywhere absolutely relate to the struggle of finding a support system.
Totally.
But we also have to appreciate the profound, glittering paradox of aristocratic relatability.
Say more.
You have a woman who resides in a literal palace, surrounded by a fleet of nannies, personal chefs, a massive security detail, and highly trained courtiers lamenting the difficulty of finding a village.
I am screaming.
Kate, your village is on the royal payroll. Your village has a pension plan and NDA agreements.
You are so bad for that, but it is entirely true. Like, I appreciate that she's trying to connect on a human level, but the context is just inherently funny.
It is a bit absurd.
It's like a billionaire complaining about the price of gas.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, across the pond, the other royal faction is dealing with their own internal PR crisis.
Meghan and Harry. Always a fascinating case study in the intersection of branding and privacy.
So Prince Archie is turning 7.
Oh, wow. 7 already.
I know, time flies. And Meghan allegedly really wants to post a formal, official birthday portrait of him on social media.
Okay, that seems normal.
She feels like it's deeply unfair that William and Kate's kids get to have these big public moments and are celebrated by the world while her kids have to be hidden away. She just wants a bit of normalcy and celebration for her son.
Which is an understandable maternal instinct. But what does Harry say?
Harry is reportedly terrified. He is calling this a dangerous game.
And if we look at the psychology of this, Harry is looking at his own deeply traumatic childhood in the glaring, unforgiving spotlight of the British tabloids.
That's exactly.
He knows firsthand the psychological toll of hypervisibility, and he does not want his children anywhere near that machine. He doesn't want them used for branding.
I honestly feel for both of them so much in this situation.
It is a tough spot.
I understand Meghan wanting to show off her beautiful son and just be a proud mom on the internet like everyone else.
Yeah.
But Harry's trauma is so deep and so valid. He knows what that kind of exposure does to a child's developing brain.
It is a massive fundamental disagreement on parenting in the digital age, amplified by the highest level of fame imaginable.
It really is.
But the analytical insight here is the towering paradox of the entire Sussex narrative.
What do you mean?
Think about the thesis statement of their departure from the royal family. It was to escape the press, protect their privacy, and raise their children away from the institution's toxic media games.
Right.
To leave all of that, only to allegedly find yourselves arguing in a Montecito mansion about how best to monetize or brand your children on social media. It is the ultimate contradiction.
It kind of is, yeah.
You cannot monetize privacy. You can't claim you want a secluded life and then be upset that your children aren't getting the same public adulation as the royal cousins.
It's the ultimate catch-22 of fame. You want the adoration and the influence, but you don't want the intrusion, and that balance just doesn't exist. If you want the brand, you have to feed the machine.
Exactly.
But speaking of people who completely lost the plot when it comes to balancing a serious image with pop culture fame, we have to talk about Justin Trudeau.
The former Canadian Prime Minister, who is now apparently deeply entrenched in his Coachella era.
Babes, I am utterly obsessed with this visual.
It is a lot to take in.
Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry have been dating for about a year, and a photo of them at Coachella went incredibly viral.
Yes, it did.
Now, insiders are telling the gossip blogs that people on the global stage, like at the World Economic Forum in Davos, are taking him less seriously because of this relationship.
And again, we are keeping this strictly neutral regarding his politics or his tenure as head of state. We are purely examining the optics and the sociology of brand collision.
I just can't stop picturing a former G7 leader in a VIP tent at Coachella.
It is jarring.
He's probably holding like a $25 sparkling water, listening to EDM, while Katy Perry is wearing some wild neon light-up outfit. It is such a hilarious visual.
It completely disrupts the psychological schema we have for political figures.
The what? Break that down.
Let's break down schema theory. Human beings categorize information to make sense of the world. You spend a decade cultivating a schema of gravitas, policy expertise, and diplomatic restraint.
Right. You are a serious leader.
You wear the tailored suits, you speak at global economic summits, you navigate international crises, and then you start dating a global pop star, and suddenly you are an accessory to her celebrity.
It's like oil and water. You can't mix them.
Exactly. Dating a pop star is the fastest, most efficient way to erase a decade of political credibility.
Because people just can't see you as both things.
Because the public mind cannot hold two competing schemas of a person at once. You are either the statesman at Davos debating fiscal policy, or you are the guy in sunglasses at Coachella holding Katy Perry's purse while she watches a DJ set.
You cannot be both without the serious brand suffering immense collateral damage.
The human brain just shorts out trying to reconcile the two.
It is so true. The optics completely override the resume. If political brands can be completely derailed by romance, then we absolutely have to dive into theme 3, relationship roller coasters and family PR machines.
Let us get into it.
Because the way celebrities are currently spiraling over their exes is giving me secondhand anxiety.
Let's start with a man who is allegedly going through an absolute emotional crisis. Channing Tatum.
Oh my gosh, I am physically cringing on his behalf. I don't understand how someone can act like this publicly.
What is he doing?
So the rumor mill is in overdrive that his ex, Zoe Kravitz, is engaged to Harry Styles, or at least that they're planning a massive summer wedding. And Channing Tatum has apparently decided to deal with this by turning his Instagram stories into an emo MySpace page from 2006.
It is a masterclass in reactive, unhinged sad
It
posting.
really is.
First, we get a highly soothing, deeply cryptic video of a seal just floating in the water,
A floating seal.
with text over it that says, "The level I'm at of letting go and trusting in the flow of the universe."
You cannot.
But the spiral continues. He then posts a multi-slide poem by John Rodell about his brain and his heart getting a divorce because of what a mess he's become.
Oh, Channing, no.
And to top it all off, the grand finale, a photo of a bloody, bruised female fighter with the caption, "Didn't go the way I wanted."
I literally cannot handle this. He is 46 years old.
Mhm.
He is an A-list movie star. And he is sad posting like a teenager whose high school crush just changed their AIM status to someone else's initials.
It is deeply adolescent behavior.
I have to ask you, which is worse? Posting a floating seal about trusting the universe, or a literal bloody fighter when your incredibly cool ex moves on with Harry Styles?
Mhm.
What is the feeling behind this?
Well, the floating seal is passive-aggressive pseudo-zen. He wants people to think he is unbothered while clearly being incredibly bothered.
Right. And the fighter.
The bloody fighter is purely dramatic. It is a visceral cry for narrative control. But analytically, what makes this so fascinating is the complete vacuum of PR intervention. Where is his team?
That is exactly what I was thinking. Why hasn't a publicist taken his phone away?
It's like when a company is failing, so the CEO just starts posting vague emotional and motivational quotes on LinkedIn instead of fixing the budget.
Yes, exactly that.
When you are an A-lister, your social media should be an impenetrable fortress of curated perfection. It is a highly valuable corporate asset.
Totally.
When you start posting poetry about your heart and brain divorcing, you are bleeding in shark-infested waters, the gossip blogs are going to eat you alive. It shows a complete breakdown of his digital autonomy.
And honestly, the Harry and Zoe of it all just makes it so much worse because they are so effortlessly cool and private.
They give nothing to the press.
Exactly. It's like he's standing outside with a digital boombox, begging for attention, while they are just out there living their chic lives.
It is a tough look.
But speaking of weddings that are causing chaos, we have to talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
The pop culture machine that never, ever sleeps.
It really doesn't. So country singer Maren Morris was on a SiriusXM show, and she revealed that she got a text message invite to Taylor and Travis's summer wedding.
Wait, a text message?
A text message. She said it looked like spam, and she immediately blocked it.
As she should.
Because, obviously, why would Taylor Swift send a wedding invite via text? But the radio hosts were hyping it up like, what if it was real?
Oh, no.
And now the timelines are spiraling out of control, saying the wedding is either July 3rd in New York City or June 13th, and that they are asking for charity donations instead of physical gifts.
Let us just pause and apply some basic, rigorous logic to this situation. We are talking about Taylor Swift,
Yes, we are.
a woman who hides secret messages in the liner notes of vinyl records. A woman who plans album rollouts 2 years in advance using complex numerology, color coding, and Easter eggs.
The mastermind herself.
Do we really, truly believe that this billionaire mastermind of aesthetics and logistics is sending out wedding invitations via SMS? Hey, Bestie, getting hitched. Tap this bit. Tap the link to RSVP.
Exactly. I'm imagining it with the little bride and groom emojis and a cheap confetti graphic. It is so utterly absurd.
It is a phishing scam. Some hacker in a basement is trying to exploit parasocial relationships to steal Maren Morris's credit card information by promising an open bar with Travis Kelce.
That is so wild.
But the deeper psychological insight here is parasocial vulnerability. Why do logical people, including radio hosts and millions of fans online, fall for this?
Because they want it to be true so badly.
Exactly. The public is so desperate for the culmination of this real-life rom-com narrative that it completely blinds their basic logic.
They just lose their minds.
They want the wedding so badly, they will believe a spam text is the real deal. The desire for a fairy tale ending overrides critical thinking.
They really will believe anything. And honestly, I love the fake detail about the charity donations instead of gifts.
Why is that?
Because what do you even buy Taylor Swift for a wedding present? A toaster. She owns the factory that makes the toaster. She owns the tower grid the toaster plugs into.
That is a very fair point.
But while Taylor and Travis are fighting off fake text invites, a real family is currently experiencing a massive civil war.
The Beckham family. This is Shakespearean-level drama.
It really is.
This is a corporate boardroom battle, but with better bone structure.
Yes. So Brooklyn Beckham, David and Victoria's oldest son, has released a 6-page statement. 6 pages, babe.
I had pages.
Slamming his own family, he called them performative, and said that ever since his 2022 wedding to Nicola Peltz, the family prioritizes Brand Beckham over everything else.
Wow.
He essentially accused them of valuing public promotion and endorsements above actual, genuine family connection.
6 pages is not a statement. 6 pages is a manifesto. That is a thesis defense on the toxicity of inherited fame.
But then Victoria Beckham goes on a podcast,
Yeah.
and she completely flips the script.
What did she say?
She is sitting there with this calm, collected demeanor, claiming she isn't a pushy mom. She says she just wants her kids to be happy and to work hard, and she uses Cruz's new music career as an example of how she just gently supports them.
And here is where the PR web gets incredibly tangled and why I compare this to a corporate shareholder dispute.
How so?
Because right after Victoria issues this calm, reassuring statement, like a CEO trying to soothe investors, Cruz posts a throwback childhood picture of himself with Brooklyn on Instagram.
Okay, saw that.
It looks like a sweet, spontaneous olive branch, a brother reaching out to a brother during a tough time.
But David Beckham wasn't having it. He completely saw through it.
Exactly. David reportedly sees the post and immediately calls foul. He thinks Victoria orchestrated it from behind the scenes.
Oh my gosh.
He called it a dangerous addiction to the PR game and accused Victoria of essentially using Cruz as a pawn to make the family look united.
Which is incredible because it proves Brooklyn's exact point.
It totally does.
Brooklyn's entire 6-page manifesto is about the family being performative, and the parents respond by allegedly orchestrating a performative Instagram post.
It is absolute PR inception. David and Victoria are now fighting each other over how to handle the PR of their son hating their PR.
They are so deep in the matrix of their own brand that they don't know how to just be a normal family anymore. I kind of feel bad for them, but also 6 pages, Brooklyn.
We have to look at the history of Brand Beckham. David and Victoria pioneered the celebrity couple as a corporate entity in the late 90s and early 2000s.
They really did.
They merged sports and pop music into a billion-dollar lifestyle brand. Brooklyn is the literal product of that corporate merger. He is fighting the machine, but by releasing a highly publicized 6-page statement, he is using the tools of the machine.
So there is no escape.
It's a closed loop of toxicity. Even a rebellion against Brand Beckham just feeds Brand Beckham. The tabloids get richer, the engagement goes up, Victoria's fashion line gets more visibility.
Toxic is the perfect word for it, and it leads us right into the darkest, most chaotic reality TV relationship update of the week, Lindsay Chrisley.
A completely different tier of fame, but an equal, if not greater, level of chaos.
So Lindsay Chrisley from Chrisley Knows Best just won custody of her dachshund, Oliver, and she won it from her ex-boyfriend, David Landsman.
Okay.
But babes, the details of this court deal are so incredibly dark. They had to sign a mutual 500-yard no-contact order that is valid until May 2027.
500 yards.
500 yards. That's 5 football fields.
We need to unpack the legal and psychological layers here because the allegations leading up to this were incredibly severe.
They were really bad.
He claimed she punched him in the face. She claimed he attacked and choked her. And he was actually arrested for aggravated assault and strangulation.
It is so scary.
This isn't just reality TV bickering for a storyline. This is severe, dangerous domestic turmoil playing out in the legal system.
I was looking at this case, and what fascinates me, aside from the sheer terror of it, is the legal precedent of pet custody.
Right.
How does a judge decide a 500-yard restraining order over a dachshund? It makes me so emotional because all I can think about is that poor little dog just caught in the middle of this screaming, violent, toxic environment.
Historically, the law views pets as property, no different than a television or a couch. But recently, courts are beginning to treat pet custody more like child custody, looking at the well-being of the animal.
Thank goodness.
But the fact that a third party has to do the handoff of this dog within 48 hours because the two owners can't even be within 5 football fields of each other without potentially violating a court order or resorting to violence, it is sobering.
It is horrifying. The dog is the only innocent party in this entire narrative.
It really highlights the absolute toxicity that can brew behind closed doors, especially when you factor in the pressures of reality TV fame.
It really does.
To be on those shows requires a certain level of inherent narcissism and a total lack of boundaries. When that bleeds into real-world relationships, it can turn volatile quickly. We snark on these people, but the reality of a 500-yard restraining order is a harsh reminder that this is real life, and it has profound consequences.
It does.
Okay.
I need to take a breath. That was really heavy.
Deep breaths.
Let's move into our final theme of the day. Theme 4. The wild, the unhinged, and the sweet. Because we need to process some bizarre stories before we get our palate cleanser.
Let us begin with Formula One and the mystical sociological powers of reality TV royalty.
Yes. Kim Kardashian and Lewis Hamilton. So Lewis is a 7-time F1 champion. He is an absolute legend in the sport.
An icon.
But he just finished 6th in the Tokyo race. And the entire internet, and I mean the entire hardcore sports internet, is blaming Kim Kardashian.
Why exactly?
Because they've been secretly dating, they were spotted in the Cotswolds, they were at the Super Bowl together, and now everyone is screaming about the Kardashian curse.
Ugh, the Kardashian curse. A deeply entrenched sociological phenomenon wherein any male athlete who enters the gravitational pull of the Kardashian-Jenner matrix suddenly loses their athletic prowess.
Now, why? I need to know why we always do this. Why do we always blame successful women when male athletes have a bad day?
It's classic deflection.
It is so deeply misogynistic. Lewis Hamilton is driving a highly complex, multi-million-dollar machine at 200 miles an hour. If he finishes 6th, maybe it's the tires, maybe it's the aerodynamics, maybe the engine misfired. Why is it immediately Kim Kardashian's fault?
It is wild to see.
And Kim didn't even attend the race. She allegedly skipped it specifically to avoid the blame, and she got blamed anyway.
I am laughing because it is inherently ridiculous, but it reveals so much about sports psychology and misogyny.
Tell me about it.
It is so much easier for angry sports fans to blame Kim's Skims shapewear for disrupting the aerodynamic flow of the Mercedes engine than to admit their favorite driver just had an off day. It's superstition.
It really is.
Throughout history, society loves to frame powerful women as sirens or witches who drain the life force from strong men. This is just ancient mythology dressed up in paparazzi photos and F1 fire suits.
It is literally a witch hunt.
Exactly. But the fact that Kim skipped the race shows that she's hyper-aware of the narrative. She knows she is radioactive to a sports fan superstition.
Totally.
She tried to mitigate the PR damage, and the internet still found a way to burn her at the stake.
She cannot win. But speaking of the Kardashian-Jenner clan and the desperate need to control everything, we have to talk about Kylie Jenner's recent podcast confession.
This was a deeply unexpected pivot from the cosmetics billionaire.
Right. So Kylie went on a podcast with her friends and confessed that she took magic mushrooms on a road trip.
Okay.
And it completely derailed her.
Yeah.
She said she couldn't stop laughing. She cried off literally all of her makeup, and she looked in the mirror and saw the craziest version of herself.
That sounds like a typical mushroom trip.
And because of that traumatic mirror moment, she absolutely refused to do shrooms at Coachella this year.
The visual of a billionaire cosmetics mogul, a woman whose entire empire, net worth, and self-worth is built on meticulous, filtered, impenetrable facial perfection, just sobbing off her own lip kits in the desert while hallucinating on fungi. It belongs in a modern art museum.
It really does. I looked in the mirror and saw the craziest version of myself. Babes, that is the entire point of mushrooms.
Right.
You're supposed to see the unfiltered, unbotoxed, chaotic reality of your soul. You're supposed to connect with the earth, not worry about your lip liner.
But for Kylie Jenner, losing control of her aesthetic is her literal worst nightmare. Control is her soul currency.
Wow. That is deep.
To take a psychedelic is to surrender control to your subconscious. And when your entire life, your public persona, your corporate branding is dictated by exact lighting, exact angles, and exact contouring, surrendering that control is terrifying.
I never thought about it like that.
I actually respect the self-awareness it takes to say, you know what, Coachella is not the environment for me to lose my grip on reality again. I need to stay in control.
I respect it too. Stay away from the shrooms, Kylie. Stick to the tequila brand you own. Okay, from a mild billionaire mushroom trip to literal criminal behavior. Babes, this next story is insane, and I need your analytical brain to break it down.
We are entering the dystopian reality of streamer culture. Proceed with caution.
So, there is an influencer who goes by the name Clavicular. His real name's Braden Peters. He is part of this looks-maxing community.
Which, for the Snark squad, who blessedly do not know, is an incredibly toxic internet subculture focused on extreme, often surgical methods to improve facial aesthetics and bone structure for men. It is rooted in deep insecurity and algorithmic validation.
Yes, very dark. Well, Clavicular is now facing up to a year in jail.
And why is that?
Because during a live stream marathon in the Florida Everglades, he pulled out a handgun and fired several shots at a literal alligator, just for content.
That is just bleak.
And this is coming right after he got sued for battery by another influencer and got dropped by his representation because he had a suspected drug overdose on a live stream.
This is where the internet stops being fun gossip and becomes a bleak sociological warning about attention economics.
What does that mean?
We have to look at the history of extreme media. In the 1990s, you had shock jock radio and shows like Jackass. But those were produced, controlled, and corporatized. There was a network safety net.
Right, there are producers and medics.
What we are seeing now is decentralized nihilism. We have created an ecosystem where attention is the only currency that matters, and the algorithm demands constantly escalating stakes.
But how does someone's brain get to the point where they think shooting an alligator is a good idea for a video?
It is the direct audience feedback loop. You do a stream, you get views, you get a hit of dopamine. Next time the audience is bored, you have to do something crazier to get the same viewer count.
So it just snowballs.
It devolves rapidly from extreme dieting to taking steroids on camera to overdosing on camera to committing literal federal wildlife crimes with a firearm just to keep the chat engaged. The streamer becomes a dancing monkey for an audience of anonymous teenagers demanding blood.
It is so scary. The disconnect from reality is profound. He is literally facing a year behind bars, and his lawyers are trying to spin it in the press like, oh, nobody got hurt, when you hear the whole story.
The spin is wild.
What story? You shot at a dinosaur for YouTube views. There's no justifying that.
It is performative nihilism. It is the darkest, most unregulated end of the influencer spectrum. And until platforms face systemic consequences for monetizing these escalating stakes, the behavior will only get more extreme.
It really is sickening. And honestly, I need to wash that taste out of my mouth. We need our palate cleanser. We need something pure to end this gossip spill.
Administer the sweetness. Our nervous systems require it.
Okay, Rebel Wilson. Rebel and her partner Ramona Agruma just welcomed their second baby.
Oh, that is wonderful.
And they shared the most beautiful, sweet photo on social media. It was their toddler, Royce Lillian, sitting there in a little pink t-shirt with a messy bun, holding a bottle and feeding her brand new baby sibling.
I love that.
The baby is all wrapped up in a hospital swaddle, and Royce is just looking down with this gentle, careful little expression, taking her big sister duty so incredibly seriously.
A collective, deeply genuine all from the entire Snark squad.
Oh, it is just the most beautiful milestone. Becoming a big sister is huge, and seeing her just jump right in to help her moms, it's pure joy. It is exactly the kind of wholesome content we needed to wash down the absolute toxicity of the previous 50 minutes.
It grounds us. It reminds us that outside of the PR machines, the $0 lawsuits, the 6-page family manifestos, and the streamer dystopia, real life is actually happening.
It really is.
People are building families, raising children, and finding quiet moments of genuine connection that don't require an algorithm.
Exactly. Real love exists, babes. It's not all just Instagram trolling and fake text invites.
Thank you to the Snark squad for tuning into this midweek chaos. We appreciate you surviving this dry blog morning with us and letting us spiral through the timelines.
We love you guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and please share this episode with your messiest friend. You know the one. The one who desperately needs to hear the psychological breakdown of Channing Tatum's floating seal.
And as we log off, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to ponder while you go about your day.
Ooh, leave them with a thought.
We talked extensively about PR machines failing, and we talked about the desperate, escalating need for attention. But if a 6-page manifesto from your own flesh and blood son cannot stop the Beckham PR machine from spinning, and a literal federal wildlife charge won't stop the extreme escalation of streamer culture,
Yeah.
what is the actual breaking point for fame in 2026? How dark does the content have to get before the pop culture machine finally breaks?
Oof, that is heavy, but so incredibly true.
Stay hydrated, stay messy, and we will see you on the snark side.